Yeah, 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 yeah. All right. Good day, everybody. What's going on? How the hell are you? Welcome to a special deep dive edition of The Fight. I am Mike, and let's get into it. So, as the title suggests, obviously, today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the border crisis going on right now. And it should come as no surprise to anybody that's paying attention. All right, so Biden and the Democrat media are already in denial over the border surge. They're already blaming Trump. Now, to start off with, let's get into an article here by The Guardian where we're going to prove just that. All right, The Guardian. Is there a crisis at the border? Advocates in Texas say it's political manipulation. The Texas governor has sent troops to fortify the border, while advocates say the immigration numbers are being politicized. Along the winding road, which follows the Rio Grande west from Mission, Texas, dozens of armed border patrol agents, state troopers, soldiers, and state and local police are dotted about to catch undocumented migrants entering the country from Mexico. This is a so-called hotspot for irregular migration. You caught that, right? I caught that. I know you caught that. Irregular migration. That's what they're now calling illegal migration. And they go on to clarify what they mean by that. This is a so called hotspot for irregular migration, folks crossing the border river without permission to enter the U.S. Yeah, that's called illegal immigration. Say it with me. And what the Republican Party and anti-immigrant activists are calling a crisis at the border. During one afternoon this week, there were more law enforcement vehicles cruising along the dusty 15-mile stretch towards Los Albanos, a tiny border community connected to Mexico by a hand-operated cable ferry. Then there was local traffic. For a couple of hours, nothing much happens until agents chase down a group of 6 men and one woman trying to hide in the dry vegetation. They are handcuffed and processed on the side of the road, each giving their name, age, and country of origin to a bilingual Border Patrol agent before placing personal belongings, wallet, jewelry, and phone into individual plastic bags. The sun is piercing. The migrants look exhausted. Those poor illegal immigrants. Christian, a lanky 20-year-old from Santa Barbara, Honduras, seems utterly bewildered by what's just gone down. He's utterly bewildered, folks. He has no idea. I mean, he's just walking along, minding his own business, and all of a sudden, oh my God! Here's some cops, some guys in uniform. I don't know. They're detaining him. They're arresting him for what? I mean, I'm just walking across the desert here. I don't know. I don't understand. He seems bewildered by what's just gone down. His family's crops were destroyed last November when two deadly hurricanes, Eta and Iota, struck within 2 weeks of each other. The land was flooded for 2 months, leaving them no harvest and unable to prepare for next season. There are no jobs, and we have no money or food, he said, shaking his head. That's called a natural disaster. It happens plenty here in the United States as well. If you came here to get away from hurricanes and flood, I hate to tell you, you fucked up. All right. So, as you can see, they're just gonna go on this big old pity party, and you know where it inevitably leads. A couple paragraphs later, it's because of racist conservatives and all that. They're irregular migrants, which is not to be confused with regular migrants. Regular migrants come over, and they go through a lengthy process and all these hoops they jump through. It's really not necessary. The irregular migrants are the ones that got it all figured out. None of that's necessary. You just go for a walk. I don't know what happened. Maybe you didn't see the big border there with all the patrols and guards and cameras and all that other stuff. You just happen to walk right through it somehow, or over it, or under it without noticing anything, and here you are. So now let's get into some stats, okay? So according to the CBP, they've already had over 100,000 encounters at the southern border as of February. Now they go fiscal year, which is, if I'm remembering right, it's October 1st to September 31st is the fiscal year. So for fiscal year 2021, it actually started October 1st of 2020. So from October 1st, 2020 up through February, last day of February, they had already had over 100,000 encounters at the southern border. Estimated over 5,000 unaccompanied minors in the CBP custody, according to an ABC report. Which, by the way, I will have that ABC report and my other sources and articles linked in the description, so you guys can check all that out for yourselves. Take a look. Now, estimated over 5,000 unaccompanied minors in CBP custody, according to the ABC report. Now, this is what we talk about now. How sad it is for all these unaccompanied minors that are coming over here, and how tragic it is, and they're in these facilities. Yet, you know, nobody ever says a word or cares about the literally millions of American children that are already living in jail-like facilities. I mean, we have 16-year-olds in every county jail that there is. You know what I mean? Nobody cares about that. We have all the kids in the foster system. We have the juvenile detention centers. Nobody gives a shit about any of that. It says one peep towards it, and they'll say, "Oh, well, those are kids that have broken laws, broken rules." Well, so did the illegal migrant minors. Same thing, but for them, it's a pity party. For our citizen youth, it's a long road to nowhere good. All right. Now, statistics show a sharp peak in 2019 when the caravans were coming up, followed by an almost mirror image drop in 2020 after Trump enacted new policies to combat the surge. Now, this is what we're going to be taking a look at, and these CBP statistics, those will also be linked in the description. There are graphs, there are numbers. It's a little bit mess. I'll try to just give you it'll all be there, but go to the graphs. You'll see the 2017 or 2018 to fiscal year 2021 charts, or whatever it is. Now in 2020 and 2019, you are going to see the biggest peak. Now that's 2019. That's the last time we were having a border surge problem. Everybody remembers that. All the caravans were coming up, and then President Trump enacted new policies. So, in fiscal year 2020, you will see an almost identical mirror image reverse going the opposite way down, as opposed. So 2019, highest spike there is going up. 2020, an exact opposite spike going down to the lowest. So already for fiscal year 2021, we are already on track to beat the 2019 numbers. So you look at the 2019 graph, the highest peak, and then here's fiscal year 2021 already coming up before the spike in 2019 and already above where it was at the same point. Excuse me. Now, not only this is all right, one of the biggest problems with open borders inevitably is that it's not, well, first of all, I mean, rules have to mean something. A country is nothing without its borders. Second of all, if you have a border crisis or loose border policies and all that, it is a perfect opportunity for, as Bush would say, the evildoers. Your terrorists to come through. And in fact, 4 people, 3 from Yemen, 1 from Serbia, who were detained at the southern border, were on a terrorist watch list. And all I can think of when I see that is how many weren't caught. All right, the system is overwhelmed. They're just now releasing people. Willing. It's we've gone right back to catch and release on steroids. You know what I mean? There's too many coming over. They overwhelm the system, which is done purposely. They know exactly what they're doing. This is no coincidence. The timing is no coincidence, and it all goes with Biden's policies and the rhetoric that the Democrats in general have been touting for at least the last 4 years, not to mention the Obama presidency before that, and yada, yada, yada. So, what are the Democrats' solutions, you might ask? Well, first things first, blame Trump. Second things second, denial. And, of course, they'll try to act like they're going to actually try to fix something, and they'll come up with new policies that will be disastrous and will do the opposite of fixing the problem. And here's what those policies and solutions are going to be. Deny there's a crisis. All right. So we just talked about that as step 2. Deny there's a crisis. Deny media access to facilities, then claim that you're committed to transparency and access. So, excuse me. Circle back, Psaki, she gets up there and she talks about how much they care. And yes, of course, it's their utmost goal to be transparent and to allow media access as soon as possible. But you have to understand that because of COVID and because of the pandemic, and the circumstances going on right now that we've never seen before, and everything is just so hard right now, there's just no possible way that we can allow any media down there, because after all, we are in the middle of this crippling pandemic, and any visitation by media would put all those undocumented minors at risk. We just can't have that. Secondly, Biden administration awards $86 million contract to Texas nonprofit to house up to 1,200 migrants in hotels in border states. Contract is for 6 months with options to expand and extend. So you heard that right. The Biden administration has awarded a $86 million contract to a nonprofit, because we all know that nonprofits aren't really nonprofit at all. And so they've awarded $86 million contract to a nonprofit that will pay for hotel rooms to house up to 1,200 migrants to begin with. And of course, they left room in this contract for it to be extended, expanded, grown larger. The House also just passed 2 bills aimed at protecting illegal immigrants from deportation and giving them a path to citizenship. These bills are aimed specifically at dreamers and illegal farm workers, but we all know that they'll be used very broadly to cover. So they have 2 bills. I forgot to jot down the actual name of the bills, but they will be included in the sources that are linked in the description, like I said, so you will be able to see that for yourself. Now, like I just said, one of them is aimed directly at dreamers, which is no surprise. They've been talking about it for years now. As, by the way, they make policy that's just going to encourage all these other unaccompanied minors who will be future dreamers to come through. And so you see why these policies are just going to be expanded, put on steroids, go out of proportion, yada, yada, yada. It's a snowball effect. The second one, which was more interesting, really to me, um, was a specific bill for illegal farm workers. Now, basically, this said that basically, illegal farmers. If you're an illegal immigrant and you're working on a farm, we're going to give you a path to citizenship. We're going to give you, help, support, whatever you need. Now, 9 Republicans voted for the Dreamer bill. 30 Republicans voted for the Illegal Farmer Act. Sorry if you guys heard that. Piece of shit. All right. Stop giving me notifications. So 9 Republicans voted for the Dreamer bill. 30 Republicans voted for the Illegal Farmer Act. No surprise there. Now add the fact that Biden has ended the Trump policies. He ended construction at the border wall. He announced all illegals will be allowed to stay in the country. And you add all this together, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see why we're having a massive surge at the border. In short, their solution to the surge at the border is to enact policies and make promises that will encourage even more of a surge at the border. These people aren't playing with a full deck, people. Then they have the balls to claim that the surge is Trump's fault because he dismantled the establishment's utter failure of immigration policies. The number of stats speak for themselves. So those are the stats that we all just went through, and they do speak for themselves. And this is classic. Trump has been out of office for a while now. There was no surge at the border when Biden was inaugurated, and he effectively dismantled Trump's immigration policies, all those policies that he put into place that were the direct cause of that steep drop to near record lows in 2020 from 2019 to 2020. Biden comes in, gets rid of all those great policies, makes promises that encourage, even more migrants to come. They were already headed up in October. You'll see this on the charts. I mean, just the thought that Biden had a chance at being elected president, that was enough right there for them to start heading up. They didn't have to wait for the actual results. And I'm sure that, anyway. Now, we're already seeing a stark contrast between Trump and Biden policies, and the contrast will be even more drastic if and when the surge ends. I don't think that this surge is going to end anytime soon because, well, for one, just look at the policies that they're making. They're utterly ridiculous. So, come up here if there's any unaccompanied children, you'll get a path to citizenship. If you work on a farm or just work somewhere, then you'll get citizenship, and we'll give you insurance, we'll give you welfare, we'll give you money. For all that, I think that, a potential short stay at a border facility doesn't sound too bad. 3 hots and a cot. You know what I'm saying? And this is only the beginning. This is going to get far, far worse. I'm absolutely sure of it because, well, I mean, why wouldn't it? All right, so we just went through a bunch of information there really quick. Once again, remember, I will have sources linked in the description. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please take a second, like the video. If you're not already subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. And we really, really appreciate the support. And don't forget, every Monday, brand new episode of The Fight with both me and my co-host, Zach. Look for us there. We will continue to cover this border crisis as it inevitably unfolds. This is going to be going on for a while. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Also, you can follow me on both Parler and Clout Hub at M Rogers 87 for both of them. The first time a couple weeks ago, I gave the wrong username. I don't post all that often, maybe once or twice, a couple times a week at most. But I am on there, especially on Mondays when the videos come out and all that. So thank you again so much for joining me today. Look for us every Monday, and thank you all very much. Have a good one.